تفضل برادر عبد المجيد.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.
بسم الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today is Thursday, Jamadu Sani 29th, 1442 by Islamic calendar. By Christian calendar, today is February the 11th, 2021. With the permission of all the shayukhs and my respected brothers and sisters, welcome to our Halaqah. I have the honor and privilege to introduce today's Halaqah number 325. 325. We are honored to have Sister Maissa for the 17th time. Today she is coming up with Sister Dawlat, and tonight's topic is the pros and cons of social media. May Allah bless you, Sister Maissa and Dawlat, for your services here, and bless your parents too, along with it. Our honored Imam Awad al-Qassas is blessing us with the recitation of Holy Quran for 105th time. 105th time. May Allah bless you, Imam al-Qassas, for these services that you have rendered for 105 times. Tonight, Imam will be reciting 51 Surah Ad-Dariyat, and may Allah bless you and your parents for this recitation. You always do that. My Imam Hamad Shibli is blessing us with the translation and tafsir of the Holy Quran for the 62nd time. 62nd. And as regard the timeline goes, we are from 7:15 to onwards to 7:30 with recitation and translation. And the speaker time is from 7:30 to 8 o'clock. From 8 to 8:12 will be question and answer session. And from 8:12 to 8:15 we go and closing. So, Jazakallah khair. The floor belongs to Imam Muhammad, please.
Jazakallah khair, brother Abdul Majid. Rahimallahu walidaykum.
آمين يا رب.
الشيخ.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذاريات ذروا فالحاملات وقرا فالجاريات يسرا فالمقسمات أمرا إنما توعدون لصادق وإن الدين لواقع والسماء ذات الحبك إنكم لفي قول مختلف يؤفك عنه من أفك قتل الخراصون الذين هم في غمرة ساهون يسألون أيان يوم الدين يوم هم على النار يفتنون ذوقوا فتنتكم فتنتكم هذا الذي كنتم به تستعجلون إن المتقين في جنات وعيون آخذين ما آتاهم ربهم إنهم كانوا قبل ذلك محسنين كانوا قليلا من الليل ما يهجعون وبالأسحار هم يستغفرون استغفر الله وفي أموالهم حق للسائل والمحروم وفي الأرض آيات للموقنين وفي أنفسكم أفلا تبصرون وفي السماء رزقكم وما توعدون فورب السماء والأرض إنه لحق مثل ما أنكم تنطقون هل أتاك حديث ضيف إبراهيم المكرمين إذ دخلوا عليه فقالوا سلاما قال سلام قوم منكرون فراغ إلى أهله فجاء بعجل سمين فقربه إليهم قال ألا تأكلون فأوجس منهم خيفة قالوا لا تخف وبشروه بغلام عليم فأقبلت امرأته في صرة فصكت وجهها وقالت عجوز عقيم. قالوا كذلك قال ربك إنه هو الحكيم العليم. صدق الله العظيم. صدق الله العظيم.
ما شاء الله فضيلة الشيخ، جزاك الله خير
وإياكم.
ورحم الله والديكم ونفعنا وإياكم ببركة القرآن.
آمين آمين يا رب. وجزاكم الله خيرا.
لا تنسى أخونا معراج مذر وأخونا إقبال الشيخ من نور دعاء إن شاء الله.
الله يشفيهم ويعافيهم يا رب. نسأل الله العظيم رب العرش العظيم لهما بالشفاء التام والعاجل إن شاء الله. اللهم رب الناس أذهب البأس، اشف أنت الشافي، لا شفاء إلا شفاؤك، شفاء لا يغادر سقما. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين، اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين، اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين يا رب العالمين. آمين.
جزاك الله خير، جزاك الله خير. تفضل فضيلة الشيخ حمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار على هديه إلى يوم الدين. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. My dear respected Imam, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
With the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then with the guidance of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, our Fadilat Shaykh Fahd al-Qassas, Jazallah Khair, was able to recite 30 verses, MashaAllah, from 1 to 30. From chapter, we call it Ad-Dhariyat. And subhanallah, by following up his recitation, I find myself, we have 3 sections of those recitation. The first section from verse 1 to verse 14. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was swearing by either the angel in one meaning or by the wind in another meaning. And he mentioned what are the activity of the wind by carrying the water, carrying the cloud, carrying the snow. And that is a few verses in the beginning. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about what he swear about it, about the day of judgment is going to take place. And there is no doubt about it. Then he moved to the heaven as the sama, and he keeps swearing by it because this surah was revealed to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in Mecca, not in Medina. Then the people who reject the day of judgment, they will ask, when is the day of judgment will take place? And but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is assuring us, assuring them, the day of judgment is going to take place as soon يَوْمَ يَرَوْنَهُ بَعِيدًا وَنَرَاهُ قَرِيبًا. The people of Quraysh and all the people follow their schools, they think the day of judgment is far away. But the day of judgment, in the minute the person will die, قِيَامَتُهُ تَقُوم, the minute he die or she die, with Corona, before Corona, that the day of judgment of that person will take place. Then we have to be very careful about couple verses before we talk about al-muttaqin. Don't believe the magician. Don't believe al-arraf, the one who like to read your hand. Don't believe the woman and the man who like to read what you call it, the crystal ball. That is haram. And one of the hadiths of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, من أتى ساحرا أو كاهنا أو عرافا وصدقه بما يقول فقد كفر بما نزل على محمد أو كما قال. If you visit those people and you believe what they are going to tell you, God forbid, you deserve the title of kafir if you believe what they said. That is section 1. But section 2, my dear brothers and sisters, I believe this is the section we have to put more emphasis on it, about who are the muttaqeen, who are the people are mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described them in many verses, and maybe I'll pick up one or two. They took the Quran and the Sunnah in very serious. إن المتقين في جنات وعيون آخذين ما آتاهم ربهم. Who give us the Quran? Allah. Who give us the Sunnah? Rasulullah, through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are we take it slightly, or we have to take it seriously in our life? We have to take it seriously in our life, inshallah ta'ala. During their life, they were very generous. إنهم كانوا قبل ذلك محسنين. They used to be muhsinin, very kind by the word, by looking, by giving, by smiling. Muhsin can be cover many things, and inshallah ta'ala, we will maybe mention that. How about their night? That is during the daytime. How about their night? Only they sleep couple hours. كانوا قليلا من الليل ما يهجعون.
Put the volume down.
Before they go to the bed, but the rest of the night, especially the last third of the part of the night, they were with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And before Salat al-Fajr, how beautiful is to say exactly what Fadilat Sheikh Fuad, when he come to the word, وَبِالْأَسْحَارِ هُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ, he says, Astaghfirullah. We pass by Surah Nur. استغفروا ربكم إنه كان غفارا يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا ويمددكم بأموال وبنين. When you make istighfar, you will get everything you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. Your money is not only belong to us. A part of the money is belong to the faqir and the miskin and the one who will ask you and the one who does not have. وفي أموالهم حق معلوم للسائل والمحروم. Look at around you, what you can help those families, especially in the poor country. Try to help them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you. Then they have the thought, what Allah created as a miracle in the heaven, in the earth, and between them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَفِي الْأَرْضِ آيَاتٍ لِلْمُوقِنِينَ وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ same ayat. أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ, didn't you see? Then all your rizq come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not from the human being. What is السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ? What Allah wrote for you as sustenance is coming to you, but the word rizq here is coming by the meaning of the rain, and the rain coming from the heaven, because in the beginning of the surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about وَالذَّارِيَاتِ. And finally, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, how about when Allah swear again by himself? Ya subhanallah. Does we need Allah to swear by himself to believe him? No, no. But because he is the creator, he can swear by anything, include by himself. But we as a Muslim, we are not allowed to swear by anything in front of the judge when we are asking, or to be witness, just to say, Wallahi wa billahi wa tallahi. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about himself, فَوَرَبُّ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ, by the Lord of the heaven and the earth. What Allah revealed to you and about the day of judgment, إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ مِثْلَ مَا أَنَّكُمْ تَنْطِقُونَ, as you are being talking in the media, in the Zoom, and you hear the voice of the Imam, and you are going to hear the other voice, inshallah ta'ala, a few minutes from now, that is a reality. Somebody is talking to us. Exactly the same thing. The day of judgment is coming soon, inshallah. Let me stop here. And the third section, I am not going to touch it because the whole section will go together. Fadilat Sheikh Fuad Qassas recite a few verses about who is our Prophet Ibrahim, what are the name of the son Allah give it to him, son Alim, and what his wife did when she had from the angel, you are going to have a baby out of the age. Inshallah, we'll talk about it. But let me pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept the recitation. Let me pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward all of you. And let me pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give full shifa to the people we mention and the people we don't mention. We know some of them, we don't know the rest. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it. And jazakumullah khair. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه يغفر لكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. فضيلة الشيخ محمد، ورحم الله والديكم وتقبل الله منا ومنكم ورفع مقامكم في الدنيا والآخرة إن شاء الله. Brother Abdul Majid, please, if you can put everybody mute, because we hear a lot of noise come from somebody. Please make everybody mute if you can, except the speaker. Maissa,
I got it, Imam. I'll take care of it. Sister Muliwak, I have to mute you because you keep on. It's coming out now. There's different ones. I'm going to be muting everybody, so please disregard it. Don't be insulted. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah, Brother Mairaj.
Maissa, تفضل.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Maissa.
Okay, Dawlat is here. I just want to make sure that Dawlat is here with us. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, our religion, Islam, is a beautiful religion. It is a religion that does not differentiate between one person or another except by taqwa. It is a religion that encouraged people to get to know each other and communicate with everyone. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, Ya ayyuhan, after a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female and made you peoples in tribes that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing and acquainted. Also, it is one of our responsibility as Muslim Ummah is to teach Islam to others and to tell them about the halal and warn them about the haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 110. You are the best of peoples, evolved for mankind. You enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong, and believe in Allah. And this time is much easier to spread the word of Islam than it was many years ago, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with something that He did not give to the people before us. He gave us the technology and the internet, where we can communicate with so many people at the same time. We can learn about anything we want and teach anyone anywhere in the world without leaving home. For that, the internet and especially social media has become an important aspect in our daily life. And as Muslims, we should welcome and appreciate all kinds of improvement as long as it does not go against the teaching of the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At the same time, we must be careful of the negative aspects of this improvement, because as we know, almost everything in this life has a positive side and a negative side. And that's what our speaker is going to tell us more about, the pros and the cons of the internet, and actually more specific about social media. Let's welcome our speaker for the second time, Dawlat.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Maissa, for that. I will be sharing my screen with everyone. Just give me 1 second, and then we can start the presentation from there. Can you guys see? Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, it's good.
Okay. So, like Maissa said before, I really want to talk to everyone. Is there any way I can hide this? Okay. I really want to talk to everyone about the dangers and benefits of social media. I think especially with the newer generations, a lot of our children are growing up with this as their world, whereas we have gotten so used to the physical as our world. Kids nowadays, because of this pandemic and everything, they're growing up with social media as their lives. So it's important for us as their elders to really understand what's going on behind the screen, how it's benefiting them, how it's hurting them, in order to better them and to help guide them through it, even though we ourselves, we didn't grow up with this, so we aren't fully aware of what's the dangerous and what's the beneficial aspect. So first, let's talk about what is social media in the first place. I'm sure all of you have at least one social media account out there, whether that being Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, even YouTube is considered a social media aspect, while it is also considered a platform. We don't really have to get into that. It's a bunch of subgenres, but anywhere that you can communicate with someone else would be considered social media. LinkedIn even, a lot of us use that for our professional world. That would be considered social media. So websites and applications that enable users to share, create, and even participate within the social aspect of others. Even our kids nowadays, I'm sure you've all heard of TikTok or Snapchat. Those are social media accounts that our children use that we probably, even personally, I have outgrown Snapchat, but I'm sure kids nowadays, that's all they use. So who is social media specifically for? Everyone. There's no right or wrong answer. I think that's why there are so many benefits and negatives to social media, is that we all have access to it. There's no one gatekeeping the internet from the rest of the world. And I think that's why it can potentially have a lot of dangers, is that the same way your kids have access to it and are able to do whatever they want, strangers can do the same thing. And that can be harmful because without you realizing it, your child could be interacting with a stranger. And I don't want to scare anyone with this presentation. I don't want you guys to log off and then no longer use social media ever again, or force your kids not to use social media. Social media is definitely a benefit that even today and for the rest of our lives, you can't do anything without social media. It's become part of our lives that we can't really escape. So it's important to understand that while it is within our lives and we have to have it around, it's still something you need to be cautious of. Just not too cautious where you're completely diminishing it from your life, if that makes sense. So let's focus on the benefits for now, and then we'll go into the negatives in a second. So a big benefit for social media is communication, of course. Even right now, we are using social media to connect with everyone else that's on this call. And if it wasn't for Zoom or the internet or social media in general, none of us would have been able to be here. Because of this pandemic, a lot of us are stuck at home and unable to talk to other people. But with the help of social media and the internet, we're still able to meet our social standards and be part of the lives of our loved ones, despite being so far away from home. Networking is a big benefit towards social media. Personally, me, myself, I have succeeded career-wise because of the internet. I have been able to get my name out there because of the internet and let people know who I am and what I do, regardless of ever meeting them, simply because I was able to market myself in a way on social media that made them understand that I'm capable of doing whatever it is they needed me to do. Websites like LinkedIn and Indeed are both amazing websites to help get your company name and even you yourself as an employer out there to let people know that, hey, I'm ready for this job. I'm willing to do what you need me to do. And it's all in the comfort of your own bed, which is great. Unlimited knowledge. This is something Maissa kind of talked about a little bit earlier before I presented. We have access to anything and everything at our fingertips, whether that being our laptops, our tablets, even our phones. I can't tell you how many times a day where I'll have a question in mind, and instead of really thinking it through, I will just be like, hey Siri, what is blah, blah, blah? And she'll immediately answer it for me. Google, we all know Google. Any question you have, you could just type it into Google and he'll give you the answer immediately. So we do have that power, I want to call it, because it is a kind of a power that generations before us didn't have, where the world is at our fingertips and no one can take that away from us because of social media and the internet. And another benefit is fast news. We are able to constantly be in the know and constantly be up to date with whatever's going on and keep ourselves safe because of the internet. For example, we're living in a pandemic right now, but if it wasn't for the internet or social media or even news outlets continuously telling us what it is we need to do in order to stay safe, how to stay safe, what are the next steps to improve, to moving on with our lives. If we didn't have the internet telling us any of this, none of us would even know a pandemic is going on. We'd be constantly confused. And the same way that unlimited knowledge and fast news could be a benefit, again, everything is within moderation. So the same way these are benefits, they can also be considered cons, or in another word, shortcoming. So like I said, constant news is a big, while it is a benefit, it could also be a con, because studies show that constantly being in the know and being given news after news after news can be very detrimental to your mental health and could be the root cause of depression or anxiety, because you're constantly given this information that we as humans have not adapted to yet. You know, before the internet was invented, the only way we got news was whether through newspapers or word of mouth. So it wasn't thrown at us constantly like it is now. So it wasn't really affecting us mentally the way it does now. It's also a hotspot for false information, because everyone and anyone has access to the internet and has access to essentially giving themselves a voice on the internet without anyone stopping them. Anyone and everyone can spread false information. For example, when the coronavirus first got discovered, there was a big rumor going around that it was China's fault. This was all because someone somewhere started this false information. I don't want to say who, because then it'll get political. But well, someone started this false information. They were given a voice because of the internet, and false information that was potentially dangerous to a group of people was spread around, and a lot of people believed it, and this caused that specific community to be in harm's way. So you always have to be very cautious of what you're reading. You always have to make sure you're checking your sources. I know personally, I've noticed WhatsApp is a big hub for false information to spread. We've all gotten that text message that said, oh, I've heard this doctor say, you know, eat garlic and you'll be fine. But we don't have a credible source. We just know that our friend on WhatsApp sent that to us. So because there's no credible source, it could potentially be false information that we aren't really double checking. And I think that's a huge disadvantage of the internet. Nobody's double checking information anymore. Another potentially harmful thing is oversharing. I don't think my generation or generations older than me really have this issue, but I think when you're focusing on your kids and you're trying to figure out what it is they're doing, a big thing that could potentially harm them is oversharing, because they grew up on social media and they grew up in front of the screen. All they know is social media, and all they know how to do is share their daily lives on social media. And again, this could be harmful. We're giving out private information to strangers we don't even know. We're sharing private, you know, family information. We're letting our private business out there without really thinking of the repercussions that it comes with. Again, this is something I feel like really should be focused more on towards the kids, because it's them that don't really understand. Whereas I feel like the older generation and my generation as well, we understand that there's a difference between physical life and internet life, but kids nowadays don't. As you can see, I have a quote on the right here that's from the Quran that says, "Oh believers, if an evildoer brings you any news, verify it so you do not harm people unknowingly, becoming regretful for what you have done." So even the Quran itself says to always double check the information you're given. Don't just spread false news because you were given it, because it could potentially be very harmful. Surf safely, if you don't know what that means. A lot of people, when they're surfing the internet, they basically say surf safely. So make sure you're surfing safely on the internet. That is my presentation. Thank you. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to oblige. I know I was with that. So that's everything. Does anyone have any questions or?
Thank you, Dawlat. It was a great presentation. I just want to add one thing, that even if we try to push our kids away from the internet now or from social media, it's something they do at school. Like now, since with the pandemic, all their study is on the computer, on the internet. So that's another thing that we should watch. And I've noticed my kids that while they are in class, they will go on YouTube to watch a video or something like this. So that's something that we need to see how to control it, and to see their screen when they are doing their schoolwork.
Yeah, and like I said in the beginning, I'm not giving this presentation or this information for you to get scared and push your kids away. This is because regardless of how much you want them off the internet, it's become a part of all of our lives. You're going to be on it regardless of whether you want to be on it or not. So it's important to rather approach it with what you know rather than push people away from it.
I see brother.
Thank you. I see Brother Ibrahim and Brother me. I have a question. It's not a question, but please, if you can continue about the المحرمات الحرام في بالسوشيال media. Example, I ask you many times to do something for me. You say, Dad, we cannot do that. Can you tell us what is, for all of us who is like older than you, we don't know what is our right or our forbidden to do with the social media. Can you tell us about that, please, if you have time?
Sure. There's not really any rules to social media. Anyone and everyone can use it. You can do whatever you want on it, and I think that's why it's so dangerous, is that no one's really stopping you from doing whatever it is you desire to do on the internet. It's all really about how you wish to perceive yourself. For example, I'm a hijabi, I'm a Muslim, I'm the daughter of an imam, and even though not everyone on the internet knows me as that, it's important for me to continue that image, because whatever I am on the internet will follow you off the internet. So if I put something on the internet thinking, oh, no one's going to see this, it's just the internet, I think that's that's very negative information that you're telling yourself, because whatever happens on the internet not only stays on the internet, but is also shared in real life. So you might think you're doing something that, you know, your friends and family won't see, but in the end of the day, it gets shared with everyone.
Dawlat, I think Papa's question was more about like copying and paste someone's
like copyright
work, and then
okay. Yeah, I forgot about that part. Copyright is very there's a very thin line when it comes to copyright, because essentially if you're stealing people's work without copyright, it could be considered theft. People have even gone to court because of this. For example, let's say Disney, we all know Disney, great channel. They publish a TV show, right? And my dad wants a 30-second clip of that TV show, just 30 seconds. What's the harm in 30 seconds for his YouTube channel? I can't do that for him because I don't have the rights to said video. Me taking 30 seconds of that video, even if I'm not getting any money from it or I'm not profiting off of this 30 seconds, it's still considered theft for me to take it because I'm not asking for permission. And that's what copyright is. It's saying I asked for permission for this thing on the internet, and because I have this copyright or this paper saying I've been asked for permission and I got accepted, I can now use it. But without copyright papers, you're not able to use something that someone else owns, because you're basically taking their work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. Jazakallah khair. This is my question. Thank you.
Brother Ibrahim, would you like to ask your question or make your comment?
Yes, assalamu alaikum. I actually have kind of a two-pronged comment question. One of the things that the current debate in social media is about censorship. Right now, I mean, I think that you were giving an inference to Trump and maybe some of the information that he's presented that was false news. Yeah. But I mean, there are multiple examples of that where people will just say anything on the news. And what we're seeing right now is that the social media companies, mainly in Silicon Valley, have the ability to censor people. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there are pros and cons to that. And I was wondering if you can comment about maybe what your thoughts are about how social media companies are attempting to censor or fight back against false information on the internet.
Personally, I think it benefited us as a whole. The fact that I know in that specific situation, it benefited us that they shut him down, just because he was already doing enough harm as it is. But I think when it comes to, you know, everyday people, a lot will argue that censoring them on the internet is against their Second Amendment rights or their freedom of speech, which I agree with, but to an extent, because, you know, we never know when the next Donald Trump will come back or a new Donald Trump will come back. And if companies like Facebook and Twitter don't do something about it, it's just another mistake waiting to happen, in my opinion. I think the only reason they did it though, I don't really want to give them praise for doing it in the first place, because they did it when it was too late. Like they had all these warning signs of Trump just going off for years on Twitter. But right when they saw how dangerous it was, that's when they decided to shut it down. And I think that's when they kind of messed up, is that they waited till the last second and they expect praise for it.
And if you don't mind, kind of, if time permits, and Mirage, if this is impermissible, let me know. But I did want to ask a really quick second question. I noticed that in your presentation, or one of the cons that come to mind related to social media is the possibility that social media companies can use your data for, I guess, corporate use or advertisements and things of that nature, which kind of seems a little bit stalkerish. So I was wondering if you could maybe comment on that as well.
Oh yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I completely forgot to point that out. But for those of you who don't know, whenever you're on a website or an app, they have these things called, I think it's the cookies that are grabbing your information. I'm not a coder, so I might be wrong. But the reason when you go on Instagram or Facebook and you see an ad that's very specific towards you is because, sites like Google, Facebook, and Instagram are listening, essentially. There's no proof. They haven't found like any proof, but it's very obvious that these companies kind of hack into our phones and they listen, or like they see what we're searching. They're constantly following us. And you're right, it is very creepy and it's very stalkery. And they have created tools to kind of fight against that. For example, they have a bunch of webcam covers you can put now to cover your cameras when you're not using it. But I agree, it's very creepy and it's very weird that this is what we're falling into. And unless, I think the government is now trying to, build a wall between physical and social media. But I think until that happens, companies are just going to keep doing it and keep getting as much information as they can. We just have to protect ourselves from it by, like playing around with the settings or blocking certain things or not accepting cookies and all that. But again, I'm not a coder, so I might be wrong, but yeah, I agree. It's very creepy.
Thank you so much.
Sister Sharifa.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you, Maissa, and thank you, Dawlat, for a very nice presentation. I learned a lot today. But I was just wondering, if the parents, they have young children, and they want to sort of control this, that going on different websites, is there any way of doing that?
Yeah, there's definitely parental controls you can find on whatever device it is that your child is using. Granted, depending on how old the child is, they can probably go past it. Like I'm sure after 15, your child is going to be able to get through the little locks that they put on the laptops nowadays. But there are parental locks you can put on the device to say you only want them to use it maybe an hour and a half a day. Even my iPhone, like I put it on for myself. I'd be happy to show you like once everything's done, so I'm not taking up too much of anyone's time. But even on your iPhone, if you go into settings, they have features where you can't open an app, or you can't have an app open longer than an hour and a half a day, which I love to use on myself just to keep myself, making sure I'm not like getting addicted. But yeah, if you just look up parental locks on whatever device you're using, they have tutorials that you can look up to do it. Or if you don't want to put a parental lock on and you just want to make sure that your child is staying safe from a distance without them knowing that you're trying to control them, I just suggest asking them, what sites are you using? What exactly are you learning on this site? What are you doing? Are you posting anything? And if they are, I highly recommend seeing what it is that they post, especially as a child, because the internet is a very big hotspot for, you know, children to just be groomed into having a mindset that you yourself didn't expect them to have as a parent, if that makes sense.
So say the child wanted to search and I put parental lock, you know, would they not be able to go on the site, or?
It depends what site it is.
Is that what it means, or does it mean that?
I think they have different settings. I've never used parental lock. I've only used the app lock, which more specifically, it allows me to use my phone for a specific amount of time of the day. And then once that time is over, I can't touch my phone anymore. But I know on websites, they do have, let's say, for example, you don't want your child to go on Instagram on the laptop. You can put in to give them no access on Instagram, but they'll still be able to use Google if they need to. Yeah.
And
happy to help.
Just Tanti Sharif, I just to add that to Dawlat. Again, it depends on the kid's age. Like for my kids, they still don't know much about internet. There's apps that I have on their computers where it blocks any page that I don't want them to use. So they can use the page for the school, but others app that I have blocked, they cannot open.
Oh, that's
another, yeah, and there's something I just learned recently that even from the internet website, you can, there's an app for the internet, you can go on and block which computer you don't want them to use, or which game, like if they are playing a game, you can block that game only, and they will not be able to go on it.
Oh,
but still, they will be able to open other pages or other things on the computer.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the information. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Jazakallah. Sister Nasreen.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
You realize how much excitement there is today? We need young people like you to bring up need of the hour to our minds. Thank you, Dawlat, for being there for us.
Of course. I'm happy to help.
Okay. You said you presented it very well.
Thank you.
And the part you said about wrong information on the internet, one thing that bothers me a lot is, you see, many of us are trying to learn something, and we go to the wrong media connections. Like it can confuse our aqidah. Like our understanding of the Quran is different from other sects, the way they present it. How they talk about the Sahabis or the Khalif. So I realize there is a lot of nonsense out there which can confuse us. And the other thing is, there is this white guy who comes on YouTube, he puts in small little clips to the extent he talks so much nonsense that Muslims are confused and they should not go to Makkah and they should not go to Medina. These two places are wrongly presented. If any of you has seen that kind of a thing, like he's trying to lead the new younger generation or the converted Muslims into a wrong path altogether. And that's very scary. We should know some way of stopping that, like getting YouTube to bring that kind of information down from the, how do we go about for that?
I can understand your frustration. It is very upsetting when, you know, someone who you don't even know is spreading false information. Unfortunately, though, when it comes to the internet, anyone can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and unless it's something illegal or harmful, we can't really stop them, because it does go against that whole freedom of speech aspect. You know, we try and shut them down, then we're gonna get punished because we're making him stop talking all for the sake of our
That's the sad part. Yes, I agree with
So there's really, it's one of those things where you kind of just have to, you know, you don't like it, you have to ignore it, make sure your loved ones aren't going on it, but it's not something we can really control.
We cannot stop that. Yeah. But the thing is, like, you know, there is so much in it. Not only that kind, there is so much other stuff that there's a difficulty. We have to know where we are looking at. We should look at the proper, our search should be guided properly. We should know which scholar we should follow or what books we should read.
Oh yeah, and that's why I always say to make sure your sources are correct.
The sources,
even in school, even in school, like they won't allow you to write a paper unless you source. You can't just say, I found this on the internet. It'll tell you, no, this is wrong. You need a credible source. So it's very important to make sure the information that you are getting, it's coming from a reliable source. It's not just a stranger on the internet.
Thank you very much for that.
Of course.
Thank you.
But as I was saying, even if it's a friend sending you a message, it's important to be like, okay, where, other than my friend, where did I get this information from?
Okay, yes. Thank you.
Happy to help.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. Brother Arshad, you had your hand raised, but you don't have it raised anymore.
I think, Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to raise up the same thing what Sister Nasreen said. But Dawlat, thank you very much. It was a very nice subject. The only thing is, Dawlat, we talk about children too much. The children have access to the media and everything. And you will be surprised at how much adults are misusing this media. Pornography is very much on the media, and a lot of people are using that. Among Muslims too, a lot of young people, not young people only, the older people. I have heard other people talking about this destroying our marriage lives in Islam, Muslims. And I think we should talk about that more, that to alert people. And as Sister Nasreen said, that we have to be careful. There are a lot of non-Muslims misguiding Muslims, putting wrong information in the media. That's the thing. You have to make a good judgment about it. But thank you very much for bringing up this subject. That's very good. Thank you.
And again, it all comes down to looking at your sources. I agree, there is a lot of false information about Islam on the internet, but it's important to check where you're getting that information from in order to know whether it's true or not.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. I think we need to be more vigilant or careful in what we accept as sources. Yes, you could find and Google and find things on the internet, but then you need to validate that from your local sheikh, local imam, your ulama. So you should not just take it at face value. Try to validate it, and that's the proper way.
I think that's a big struggle that a lot of people had when it came to the internet, is that we thought, because this was such new technology, that everything that was coming from it had to be credible. But I think we're slowly, as a community, we're learning that not everything we read or see on the internet is accurate. And we, like the brother said, we always have to check our sources to make sure what we're reading is correct.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dawlat, for your time and your investment. We truly appreciate all that you do for us, and we look forward to always having you on this program. We really do. Jazakallah. I don't see any more questions.
Okay. Before we ask Dawlat to make dua, if you give me permission, Ma'raj, just to say for Dawlat, alhamdulillah, I see you in the place where I was looking for a long time. And my goal, inshallah, I don't want you to make money. I don't want you to be famous. I don't want you to be star. I want you to be the one who give da'wah fi sabilillah, inshallah. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to support you, to help you, to teach you, to open your heart, and to make you love the da'wah. If you don't love the da'wah, you cannot inshallah, Allah will make it easy for you. But inshallah, I ask all the brother, all the sister to make dua for you. That what you say, Dawlat, a lot of information. Brother Arshad said that, Sister Nasim said that. All of us, we know there are a lot of wrong information in social media. And don't wait, Dawlat, don't wait for me or from Brother Arshad or Sister Nasim or those old people to make the change. If you don't make the change, if your age or your generation and or your people who study the social media, if you don't make the change, don't wait for us to make the change. You know what is right, what is wrong, easy for you, inshallah, and think about the generation who will come after you. If they don't have leader, they don't have guidance, they don't have Muslim people who show them the right and the wrong, they will take all their information from social media and they will have like maybe 99% wrong if they don't have somebody to guide them to the right way, inshallah. Thank you, Dawlat. I love you. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Again, I'm proud to be my daughter. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Thank you. Please, for all brothers, all sisters, make dua for Dawlat. And I don't want, she is 23, 24, 25.
Yeah, just turned 25.
And she don't want to marry. I don't know why. Can you close by dua, Dawlat, please?
Can you do it?
Yeah, you can do it.
No, you do it.
Please do it. We can hear it from you first time.
Baba, you do it. ما
In English, say what you want in English. Okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Oh Allah, we ask you to guide us, guide our kids, our generation, to follow the way of as-sirat al-mustaqim, to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. Help them, support them to be Muslimin on the way of Quran and the Sunnah. Oh Allah, protect them from Sharr al-Waswas al-Khannas. Allah, protect them from the devil of the shayateen and the devil of the human being. Oh Allah, protect them from all the bad things around them. Oh Allah, please be with them all the time, to be a Muslimin, to be a mu'minin, to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم اشفنا واشف مرضى المسلمين. اللهم اشف أخونا إقبال الشيخ، واشف أخونا برادر معراج مدر، واشف جميع المسلمين والمسلمات، واشف أختي أم محمد في لبنان، واشف كل من سألنا الدعاء يا رب العالمين. اللهم لا شفاء إلا شفاءك، اللهم لا شفاء إلا شفاءك، اللهم لا شفاء إلا شفاءك. اللهم ارحم أمواتنا وأموات المسلمين وأموات الحاضرين أجمعين. ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا، ربنا ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Dawlat, please give love to Ahmed, please, Dawlat. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. جزاكم الله خير. شكرا.